you've been in say the business or the hockey world for a long time as a coach. Do you have any mentorship stories that you can pass along? People mentoring you in your young days, maybe even now, people that you looked up to, whether it be coaches or players. Yeah, and on that side.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to be surrounded by very successful guys, not only as players but coaches. Coaching in the NHL, like I worked with Eddie Olczyk there for a few years doing the Chicago Blackhawks camps, and he was a huge mentor to me. Not only just seeing how he was on the ice and his approach, but seeing how he was off the ice and how he handled himself. I was fortunate enough to work with Todd Woodcroft, who coached in the NHL as a video coach there for the Minnesota Wild, for the Winnipeg Jets. He actually ran my youth program back in Quad Cities for a few years. And Jay Woodcroft, who was with Detroit and with Edmonton, the two brothers. So I was very fortunate to be surrounded and to be mentored by some of those guys. And I carry that with me today. But at the same time, and I'm very thankful to be given the opportunity to work with those guys. But at the same time, I kind of do my own thing as well, just and just putting it all together, right? Because we all have different approaches, we all have different beliefs, and I think if you take things from certain individuals and you kind of put it together, that's how you become better, right? I tell players all the time, if you're going to work with one skills coach, it's going to get stale, right? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to work with other skills coaches. There's a lot of guys in this business, especially in the Chicago area. Some are good, some, whatever. But take bits and pieces from each of those guys and apply it to yourself, whether it's your game or whether it's your approach. And I think that, I've been very humble in this business, but at the same time, I've been very fortunate to learn from those guys, right? And those guys are very humble human beings as well. They don't think they're better than the next guy, and they're willing to share their knowledge. And that's, if you can surround yourself with guys that are willing to help you along the way, you win. Everybody wins, right? You get some of these guys that have big egos and their way is the only way, and they instill that in their players, and then the players decide that they want to skate with somebody else, and now their approach isn't working because they've been told that their way is the only way when they've been taught. It's just, if you can put the egos aside and better kids in terms of not only hockey and development but life, I think that's what our jobs are, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Talking about these mentors that you've named, are there any little parts that really stuck out to you, whether it's on ice, even maybe off the ice? Some maybe details of their coaching styles, or what really stuck out. Obviously them as people, you had probably some good people, really cared for yourself, but also others that they're able to mentor. But is there any other things that stuck out about them?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing that I learned from those guys is how to treat people. And I think that, like I said before, it's all how you deliver things. It's how you deliver things with not only a 5-year-old, but it's how you deliver things with a guy that's playing in the NHL, right? A lot of these kids, they play for coaches that are so discipline oriented, and it's, I mean, I guess you could say that it's almost like a scare tactic, and you can't approach kids like that anymore. And even guys in the NHL, they need to be told that they're, at some point they need to be told they're doing something right. You know what I mean? If you can relate to those kids, but at the same time, build the confidence, the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Right. Because just imagine showing up to the rink and you're being barked at all the time. It becomes a job. It becomes a job. You don't, they lose respect for you, right? They lose respect from you as a coach. They lose respect from you as a person. if you lose the respect, you're not going to see anything. You're not going to see development. You're going to see kids struggle. And I think at the end of the day, it's how you treat kids. And like I've been, and at the same time, like I said, I want to create a culture and I want to fight for our kids too, like just to make sure that, and our kids know, my kids know that when they skate for me, they know that I care and they know that I'm fighting for them and I'm going to develop them. And if they need something, if something's struggling at school, or like a lot of kids are struggling mentally right now, like they know who they can come to. And I've had conversations with kids, I've almost kind of, the last 2 years, I've almost become like a psychologist, to be honest with you. And it's been very eye-opening. It's been very, very eye-opening. I've been very vocal and I've taken some heat for that, but I'm not in this business to make friends, right? Like I'm in this business to take care of my kids and take care of my clients and to take care of my families.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just based on sharing the perspective and opinion, but also making changes is one of the big
100%.
things. I agree as well. You have to voice what you're saying, what you see and what you believe in as well. Sometimes after you look back, it's like, oh, I just said that kind of thing, not just to the parent, but even to say maybe a group, right? It's just that, but that's the truth, that and honesty that we see, I think. And I think that goes a long way based on change, right? We're always trying to be an impact on the hockey world, especially. And um, and that's what coaches do, I feel, is you got to make the change and you have to sort of stand up for what you see and what you believe in.
Like I tell my family all the time. I tell my family all the time and my kids, I said, I never want to look back. I never want to look back and say I never fought for you. And I don't treat my youth players any different than I treat my own kids. You know what I mean? Like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's what it's about. And I've proven that, and I'm going to continue to do that.
Right. Yeah. Um, okay. Anything else you want to share based on the mentorship side? Both maybe as a coach or as a player, any other stories?
Uh, no, I mean, just the reality of it is if, like I told you, if the kids just keep moving forward, right? Like that's the most important part, right? Like you're going to take the good with the bad. Like you're going to have a good year, you're going to have a bad year, but or you can have a good practice or a bad practice, or you're going to have a good coach and a bad coach. Like it's part of life. And if you can overcome those obstacles, and you can overcome the situation that we've been in, and especially in Illinois in the last 2 years, the future is bright for you, because some kids have, unfortunately, they've quit the game, or they've fallen off, or they're it's got the best of them. And you know just keep moving forward, and you're playing the greatest game in the world. And like I said, you're playing the greatest game that's going to teach you the biggest life lessons. There's no classroom that's going to teach you what the game of hockey is going to teach you. And you know it's all I know, and it's the people that I know are in the game of hockey, right? Like it's a very small world. It's a very small world. Hockey world's a small world, and that. And you know, some of my closest friends are involved in the game, and it's a culture. And stay involved, and keep moving forward.